Unqualified PK, West Side swag in the groove state. Let our light shine through his word, we elevate. Let's talk about him verbally. Christ defeated death and rose from the dead bodily. Jesus is God eternally. The Alpha Omega, no fraternity.
Episode 2. It was clear on episode 1 that I talked way more than you. And so that's not going to happen. We've just been sitting here in the room just talking about what we want to talk about. For anyone tuning in the early stages, bear with us. Months and months ago, we actually planned out a bunch of episodes and scripts, and that just didn't feel right. And so last week we just made the decision to start doing this and not really knowing exactly. It used to kind of be topical, and now it's more, I think, just conversational.
Yep, I think that's what we want overall, and just allow whatever happens. That's really our real life. We're not on script all the time. So this week I'm definitely going to be sharing more and asking more questions, and hopefully not cutting you off, and talking a little louder too, because the audio was a little funky.
Yeah. And I will say, in the next couple episodes, our intention is to dive into some of the ups and downs in our relationship, and even before our relationship. We have a few more conversations to be had to make sure that just certain people in our lives aren't learning things by scrolling social media. We never want to feel like someone feels disrespected, or I don't know. There's just some people that a few more conversations that we need to have before we really jump into some of the stuff in our past. But this week we're going to kind of just talk about what's been going on in this last week of our life. Mm-hmm. Adrienne just got done with volleyball season. And so we're going to let her talk a little bit more. So you jump into...
Deal. Well, I think the most fun was volleyball. And so that was an amazing experience. I have helped coach a freshman and JV2 team. So in this area, there's 4 teams at the local high schools. And I've helped assist the 2 bottom ones. But that also has meant that over the past years, some of the kids that I've helped are now on the varsity team. And the varsity team for South Salem made it to the state tournament this past weekend. And so Thursday and Friday and Saturday, I was there at Forest Grove cheering them on and helping them out, and I got to drive them. But ultimately, I just feel super honored that I get to be a part of this journey with them. I'm not sure it's a huge role, but I know, like, for me in my life, what the game of volleyball has done and the sense of community it's brought in difficult times, getting through middle school and high school through some difficult times. And even as an adult, like, I remember being here in Salem, and then we had met some people, and then I was asked to play on a adult rec league, I guess. But it was a good way to meet people and just be active, and it's awesome. And I know basketball has been that for you, and volleyball is huge for me. I think when it's in my life, I'm a lot happier person to be around.
And one thing to know, our daughter plays for West Salem, and Adrienne coaches. I mean, if you're not from Salem, then this might mean nothing to you. But if you are from Salem or around, she plays at West Salem, but Adrienne coaches at South Salem. And so there's been some fun banter and whatnot But it was cool to take Rye. We went over there with my dad and a friend of ours and his daughter that is friends with Rye, plays at West, and went and watched South. There was some exciting games. Ultimately, they didn't achieve the goal of winning the state championship. They took third in state, which is still pretty freaking cool because it was the best finish, I believe, in
South Salem's history.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I mean, I think the improvements that they all made over the course of the year, and I mean, getting to the state tournament is a huge accomplishment that many do not reach. And so just being a part of a program that is so fantastic and cares about the kids and cares about the character of who they are, that was definitely more important than whether we won or lost. And, you know, losing I forget the days, they all kind of go crazy, but Friday we played in the afternoon and then we played Friday night, and Friday night is when we lost. And that was really hard because if we would have won that game, then we would have gone to the championship. But I was very impressed with how the girls and the other coaches led by example of, you know, it's difficult and it's hard. And how are we going to come back and win this next match? It was cool to see.
If you guys would have won on the second game on Friday night and went to the state championship and played against Sprague, which is a crosstown rival, who would have won that game?
It would have been a fight. I would like to say that South Salem would have won for sure.
Yeah, we were hoping that that South Salem would beat Jesuit, who won the state championship. This is now their third year in a row. Mm-hmm. I think us public schools are a little tired of the Jesuits winning as much as they do. But yeah, it would have been cool to see two Salem teams in the championship game. Don't think that's ever happened. Yeah, that would have been a lot of pride and fun.
But okay, so volleyball was a great thing this week for me. There was also some more heavier stuff.
Well, before you get into that,
okay.
Why do you coach volleyball? Is it for the money?
Totally. No. Like I said, volleyball.
I mean, are you getting paid this year?
Nah. No.
So it's not for the money.
No. I just love the game and I love what it has brought in my life. And I hope to give back to those who I help coach or coach with. Like I said a little earlier, volleyball for me has been a huge outlet. When my parents got divorced, volleyball was the only thing that I really cared about and wanted to go and do. So that love of the game has stayed with me. And I think even coaching, I bring a different perspective because it might not always be like the best players that I necessarily connect the most with or anything. But if this game or a game that anybody coaches or anybody plays, especially in high school, is what helps get a student to graduate, what helps get a student through some difficult times, staying out of trouble, because you got to stay out of trouble in order to continue to play. Like, those are the reasons why I want to give back, because it has given me a lot in life.
You want to give back what? What are you giving?
I want to give back some hope in, like, there are some answers in life, and common interest is part of that. Like, and playing the game of volleyball is an active thing, obviously, but it gives a sense of community and a sense of hope that life is bigger than just what you're going through right now. And I mean, a bigger sense of community as well, because it's not just one high school that's playing, you know? Like there's so many different people just in the state of Oregon playing, and high school is just part of it. But then you go to college and there's teammates that those are your friendships that could be forever.
Yeah, I got a couple of those.
Yeah.
A couple knuckleheads still hanging around.
But I mean, it brings people in and out of our lives, and I know that the game of basketball for you has done that. I think about, I mean, literally people living in our house because of the game of basketball, and the connections that have made and the roles that they've played in our life and we've played in theirs, and how God has been the center of it ultimately, just through a funny game.
Yeah. I was just thinking about before we were coaching in Salem. We were spending nights doing things that just were not very productive and healthy and waste of money, and yeah. And how really sport, when we started coaching and kind of getting back to one of our first loves, for me basketball and you volleyball, it really kind of helped us get back in other areas. I mean,
100%.
kind of drove, that purpose, feeling purposeful. And
I mean, I even think about this game of volleyball. I was sitting at a professional development at work, and I don't know, we were in a small group or something, and I had expressed, or I pointed out a shirt that, oh, you're a part of that volleyball, or to another PE teacher. And then eventually she's the one that asked me to come and assist her for her freshman team 4 years ago. That's really like how it all started for me again. I had never coached before. And now, like, the game of volleyball and what it's brought to our relationship with Riley, and my relationship with Riley in particular, that has been pretty special. And Riley and I have a great relationship, and the game of volleyball has just enhanced it some, I think, that love of the game.
I think I've watched more volleyball in the last 72 hours than in my entire life.
Did you ever think you'd watch
Heck
this
no.
much volleyball?
Heck no.
And it's your favorite sport now, right?
Heck no. No. But I enjoy watching you and Riley love it. Yeah, it's kind of been a healing mechanism.
100%. I'm very thankful for it. And you spent a lot of time this weekend, and not even at the state tournament.
Yeah. Thursday night, Western Oregon. Friday, state tournament. Saturday night, Corbin. Oof.
What did you think,
and
watching all the different levels of play?
And almost all of them went to 5 sets. Man, when I think about that, holy smokes. They almost all went to 5 sets.
So those of you who don't know volleyball, at the varsity level...
Google it if you don't know. Go ahead.
At the high school level and at the college level, it's the best 3 out of 5. So the first 4 sets can be played to 25, but you have to win by 2. And the 5th set is to 15. But ideally, you win the first 3 and it's over. But Trav got the experience.
Oh, it couldn't be that easy, though. All right, now you can get into a heavier topic.
Yeah. I am a elementary school PE teacher, and there's a lot of joys that come with it, and there's some more difficult things. And this week I did something I did not think that would be on my bucket list ever. Or bingo card, you say, not bucket list.
Bucket list is not the right terminology.
Not bingo card, no.
Bingo card's the current terminology
bingo
for that.
Card, not bucket list, correct. But it's not something that I ever thought I would do. But unfortunately, we had some students, a parent pass away in a traumatic way. And so I was one of the staff that got to go to a funeral this week, and that was an experience for sure. I think it was important to be there for the kids. And the connection with them is something that will be different from now on. And it's just a reminder to me that, as at times as little of a role I feel like I have is ultimately like just a PE teacher. I joke about that at work all the time. I'm just a PE teacher. I'm just a PE teacher. But my prayer is for that these kids and that the family can see the support that they have through the school system, through the people, and ultimately I hope that they learn that to see Jesus through me. One of the things that I do often is tie some shoes, and some people will say, like, other PE teachers will be like, oh, I hope I never have to tie another pair of shoes. And for me, it's not something that I think about. I will always tie shoes. And to me, it's just a reminder of God sacrificing his life for me. Because a simple gesture of tying shoes, I don't want any student to feel less than or to feel ridiculous that they don't know how to tie shoes and so if a fifth grader comes up to me and asks me to tie their shoe, I'll be like, yes, absolutely. But it also gives me an opportunity to look them in the eye and say, how are you doing? What's going well? What's not? And for these kids whose parent passed away, it's again just another reminder of like really spend time and be present with them. Life is precious, and there's different challenges that people face, and they don't have to go it alone.
Something that popped up in my brain just now. Talk about as we've been planning this podcast, talk about your concerns, fears, whatever for you being a teacher. And that's not a space at a public school that you probably rarely talk about your faith, and some of your coworkers probably have no idea what you believe. And so talk about when we really started discussing all this and you were like, well, I don't know, like, because Adrienne, like you can see in some of the comments on social media, she is well loved by her, at least as far as I know, by most of her coworkers, well respected. And so I know that this has been a little scary for you to put out there just all of our business and our faith system. And
yeah, it has been. There's definitely when you brought this up to me originally, it was like, well, you may not like it. And at first I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna like it. But some of the fears that I had was me being in public education and actually voicing my beliefs on a public forum, that there would be some ridicule or parents, other staff members just not agreeing with it, and so it would create conflict, and I am not one that likes conflict at all. But ultimately, it's not anything to be ashamed of, and I'm definitely growing in voicing some of those things. I don't think that my coworkers will be surprised on some of the beliefs because of how I treat them and how I treat kids. What they might be surprised about is that it's actually online for them to just go and watch and listen and see. So, but I mean, all the fears that come flooding in of, am I going to say things right? Or am I going to offend people? Am I going to say too much?
Are they going to look at me differently? Are they going to treat me differently?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's interesting how in some religions, I respect some religions that they're very like, they don't shy away from their faith. Even if I don't agree with, other religions in terms of the practices or the belief system, some of them I'm like, man, these people are going door to door. Like they're really about, they really believe this, they're putting it into action. Or, I mean, there's other religions that are, I mean, you see it a lot on the news these days, and it's like, whoa. And then it seems like with Christianity and following Jesus, it's, for a lot of people, it's hidden, or they don't really want to say it. Or, I mean, we haven't wanted to. I mean, we're stretching ourselves big time doing this and talking about this. And I mean, earlier this week, had someone sitting in the chair you're sitting in right now, that this person has a very visible position in the community, and this person was shedding some tears. God's stirring something in this person's life. This person talked about maybe coming on this podcast at some point, and if I had I say this, and I don't want it to come across disrespectful, but if I had a nickel for every time I've heard someone say, man, Trav, I've never told anyone this, but this person shared something with us that only 2 people, like this person said, my parents don't know this happened to me, best friends don't know. And so, it's the enemy just works so hard, and he's so good at keeping everything a secret, and don't talk about that and cover that up. And, that's a huge part of why we're doing this is to give a platform for some real conversations, maybe some stuff that, people would never say in a group of people. This is a weird setting where it's like, it's just us, but it's not.
Yeah.
So I'm one of the things we've talked about is like trying to break chains. And one way to do that is exposing and getting things off your chest. And,
Yep. I actually had someone who's now retired and who I respect greatly. But she mentioned that she had seen some of our social media posts and stuff. And last week you had asked me, well, Adrienne, tell us about yourself. And I just listed off a few things like that I do. And one of the things that she had mentioned was, yes, you do all those things, and that's part of who you are, but that isn't like who you are. And she had just explained that, it's one of the things that now she's retired, like she's a human being. And now that her career, whatnot, is finished for now, like she's figuring out who she is. And, God has, it was just, again, another reminder of, God has so many different qualities and uniquenesses in us. And she listed off some nice things, other things outside of me being a PE teacher and a or you're my husband, but I'm a wife, and being a parent, being a kid, of my parents. But the qualities, and I just was reminded of, like God's qualities are in us too. And that's really what I want people to see, to be that light. Whether it be in me as a volleyball coach or me as a friend, me just walking through the grocery store, and I want to be that light.
Yeah, I was thinking about at church today, I don't know, the greatest commandment or the most important thing that God tells us is to love him with everything we got and our neighbors. And it's like, who's the neighbor? Whoever's in your life, who's ever right freaking in your life. So coworkers or people you coach with or whatever, other parents that are around, or your literal neighbors outside, which seems like, here in America, I don't know, we're not the best neighbors either about getting to know all of our neighbors. Been trying to more recently. But I mean, I used to think like, if I was a perfect Christian, what would I do during the day? Like what, where now that's becoming easier. Well, easier to like, or more clear. 'Cause I'm like, I just take Jesus everywhere, anything I do, wherever I go speak, whatever group I'm in, whether I'm doing some insurance, on my bio on the website for the insurance company, just everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything we do. And, I see how I'm fortunate because, I'm self-employed. So no one's going to fire me for saying whatever I say on this microphone. So I understand, there's a lot of positions out there where people don't feel like they can really express things or how they believe or whatnot. But
yeah, you just saying that reminded me of another fear that I had, doing this is ultimately like, am I going to be able to move up in my job? I do have my admin license, but at this point, it's like, if this is what stops me from a promotion, if you will, then it's not God's will.
yeah. Yeah, the more you follow Jesus and the more you trust and have faith, and it is just so uncanny how it's not easy and it freaking hurts. And I mean, we have our own hurts going on these days, and other people that share, what they're going through. But when we look back in our life, everything, he's always in there. Mm-hmm. He's always in there somehow. And some of the stuff that we just thought was just breaking us or what was that for? Nothing's wasted. It literally says, God wastes nothing. And that's been really encouraging, especially like in our life of late, of just when you make the decision. Well, like I was saying to you the other night when we were, I don't know, I feel like we've been crying a lot lately, being emotional a lot lately. But when I said, if we can't praise Jesus during the storm, I don't want it. I don't want it.
And I'll say, I feel like you live that out. You are an example of that. You've inspired me in a lot of ways to do that. And it's not easy, but I really do admire that in you.
I can't not do it anymore.
And that's ultimately why I wanted to do this with you.
when you really start to get a taste, there's just like we've talked to quite a few people. Well, I know I have freaking all the time now, but just thinking about this last week and trying to describe faith and believing in God and some of this stuff that's like that sometimes feels like magic or hocus pocus but just there's something in there. There's something like, why am I feeling this type of way? Or man, this thing really sucks, but I still have this weird like peace and I mean, that's what I'm challenging people in my life now is like, go taste and see. Go, man, like go trust him with that. Go give him that. And for me, it's like, I've now the last couple of years I've tasted and seen there's no turning back. And I don't say that cavalier because I have cried more in the last month than my whole life, because it seems like the more you, at least for me, the more you follow Jesus, the more flaming arrows are getting flung. But at the end of the day, I don't know, maybe it's my competitive nature. I'm like, okay, I'm a dust my feet and knees and whatever off, and I'm gonna get back to it.
Yeah.
But then there's a bunch of encouraging stuff too. I mean, some of the people that are speaking life into me and just seeing some of the stuff that God's stirring up right now, just everywhere, just freaking everywhere. You know, we both have grown up and heard the term revival, and me personally, I've never in my lifetime, you know, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But it's like it's going these days. It's everywhere. And
I just remembered something that you got to do this week. You got to speak to some young kids.
yeah.
How did that go? And did you see any like hope or revival within them?
I don't know that it was.
I know it was a different setting.
It's not that was. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it's not like It's one of the things that I don't necessarily say Jesus, but I think in some of the way I carry myself and I don't know, care about people or, you know, love on people or encourage people. Like that is showing Jesus. I mean, shoot, most of the time you're better off just loving on people first, and then they might care. Like, man, this person seems genuine or authentic, or they got something that like I might want. You know, why are they feeling hopeful?
Yeah.
No, I mean it's cool, but in a different way. I guess if I'm connecting it to like my faith in any way, I just feel like I'm being prepared. You know, I told you a while back that I think I'm going to speak at more things and I don't really want to, and that I'm not going to ask anybody or position myself for a speaking engagement. I will have to be asked to do it. And if it feels like, you know, it fits and I feel like God is in there somewhere, then I'll do it, even if I don't want to. And so yeah, it's the most comfortable I've felt public speaking, and it just seems like warm-ups
Something
to
more.
other platforms. And so yeah, I do a lot of like one-on-one stuff, you know. We had another person here recently that's been going through some hard times, really difficult situation, and just trying to speak life into that. And yeah, you know, if you want to like set yourself apart, it really isn't that difficult these days to set yourself apart. If you want to let your little light shine, and you know, be kind and gracious, and you know, it'll attract, and people will want to know, you know, what do you got, and why do you feel that kind of way in this crazy world where nothing makes sense anymore and everything's upside down, and just and yeah.
I agree. In some ways, it seems like a simple answer. Let the light shine, and then we overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say something full circle, though, is these Ninja Turtles right here. I was helping with some homework tonight and some Spanish homework. And part of it was just it's to write a story about like using certain kind of verbs, reflexive verbs. But the story included these Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, she said she likes the original ones, which I do too. Some of the I don't know, newer stuff is kind of goofy, and I don't really like it, but I love that she's loving the turtles. And she talked about making like a hoodie with some like Ninja Turtle stuff. And so I was like, say less. I'll make some hoodies.
That's funny.
Anything else? You know, like I said, we're just getting started with this, and eventually we'll be more I don't know, maybe topical. I don't even know. We literally just said, let's just start doing it one foot after the next, and whatever God's putting on our heart right now.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said in the beginning, we will jump into to some of our stuff here in the next few episodes.
I think ultimately we talked about this before we actually pushed the record button, but our hope is that what conversations you and I have amongst just the two of us or with friends, that this will just be somewhat similar to that, and the real life stuff that people don't always talk about, don't want to talk about, avoid and hide, keep secret, and in my opinion, the devil wins with that. And so our hope is just to bring that to light, but ultimately bring Jesus to the light, to the forefront.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to talk about, you know, a lot of people have complimented us, you know, about our relationship. And it's like, well, wait till we put out a bunch of episodes and see if you still feel that way about us.
Yeah.
And this process, to be honest, has been, I mean, selfishly speaking, really healing for us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're probably in the best place we've been as a husband and wife. So even if no one else gets anything out of it, I mean, I probably don't even really care. I mean, I do and I don't, because it's been helpful
For us, for sure.
But yeah, we're going to take you on a journey with us, and eventually I imagine we will have guests on once we have, I don't know, when God tells us, once we've set the table, once we've basically aired out all of our journeys, good, bad, and ugly. And then, I'm sure I've had some people ask to be on the podcast already. But we kind of we want to go first and
Set the stage.
that way, when we do start having guests, they'll probably feel more comfortable. There's probably not going to be a whole lot of things by the time we kind of share all of our journeys. Not a whole lot of things. Some stuff that we haven't personally experienced. Well, like what our friend said earlier this week, we haven't experienced that.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything is going to point to Jesus, and we're making that very clear that's the whole purpose. And there'll be laughs and there'll be positive stuff and successes. But if I learned anything doing the chair, it was really the struggle that connected and related everyone's story. It wasn't the successes.
Yep.
And so we are going to use our own to build that foundation of all this. Yeah. If you got anything else, if not, close this out.
Yeah. All right. Heavenly Father, thank you for this time with Trev. Thank you for being here in this conversation. I pray that you would just continue to work in our lives, continue to just show us your plan moving forward. I pray that we can take moments this week and just sit in your presence, as that has been a reminder this past week for me personally. And we thank you for the honesty and vulnerability of those in our life who speak life into us. Thank you for the sense of community. And we pray for those listening that you would expand that community. We love you in your name. Amen.
Amen.